What's up guys, Brick's back here for another video on this channel. Today we'll take a look at my custom mock Devastator. Now the Devastator is one of the few Transformers who I'm built out of purely technic parts. And you'll also notice that these two are not Mix Master and Hook. They are Rollout and Drill Bit. I wanted to make my Devastator feel a bit more unique, so I decided to have two different, unique characters to replace them. So I guess we'll start from right to left and look over each character individually. So first we'll be taking a look at Scrapper here. Normally Scrapper is a front end loader. However, this you'll notice that this is a bit different due to how his legs had to form. The bucket can't exactly be in his normal form. Instead, he's some kind of digger. The bucket can articulate, and he can actually roll, just not very well on hard surfaces due to the gears I used for the wheels. For his transformation, to start, you're going to fold the legs down, stand him up like this. Next, you're going to come to the back section, flip it up 90 degrees, rotate this piece out, fold it back, and then flip the arms down, and then rotate this piece back, and flip this. And that is Scrapper in his alt mode, or in his robot mode. Scrapper's original robot mode, had the canopy section on his back, like so. But that didn't feel right to me. But actually ends up on his other side. So he ends up needing these giant heels, which are formed from the bucket, in order to stand. The articulation on these guys isn't great, but I mean, they kind of have to do two separate things, and they were pretty simple builds, so I think it's fine. To start with, you've got swivel here, elbow joint, arms can go forward, then go back, legs can go forward that far, and backwards that far. That's really it. Oh, for weapons, you can flip this piece around and fold it down to give him a lockdown style face gun. Or you can just pull it off and form a little drone. This piece can also be flipped around in vehicle mode and used as a cannon. Since, again, they're futuristic alt modes, so they all have strange powers and abilities. Let's get to the next one. Next up here we have Rollout, one of the new guys. He replaces Mixmaster. Just a little steamroller. I was really happy with how I was able to get the drum of the steamroller, making it out of a special gear piece and tread links. Similar to Scrapper, it doesn't roll very well on hard surfaces, but it does roll. Here's transformation to start. Move the cockpit back and flip it up. And then flip up the drum wheel. Next, open this section up. Flip around these bits. Stand him up. And flip down the arms. And there we have Rollout in his robot mode. In standard robot mode, the drum cannot articulate that far due to the cockpit piece, so he can't really use this as a weapon unless you kind of hold him down like that. But he can use it. Here's articulation. Arms can go forward, back, an elbow bend, 360 degrees elbow bend. Legs can go forward that far, backwards that far, and then you have ankle pivot. For robot mode, you want to make sure that the silver bearings are in front. The gray ones go in front for vehicle and combination mode. Yeah, he's a pretty simple build, although I think personally he's one of my favorites. Next up here we have Drillbit, the team leader who takes the place of Hook. He is a little drill. You also notice that he is, if you learn it here, he is the only figure who actually has a tab-in function. These pieces here tab into the legs and the arms to tab it into the arms for robot mode, and the legs for, my bad, I messed that up. The arms for vehicle mode and the legs for robot mode. But for combination mode, they form something completely different, which we'll get to later. Start his transformation. You're going to pull these pins out, which can be a little tricky. Yeah, you're going to do that, and then rotate these down. Like so. That will free up the legs, which you fold down. And you take these sections, and they will just... You flip them up at the black piece. Or before you do that, you swivel at the gray so the pin is facing that way. Then you move up, and the pins will just push them back into the hole. The arms will then shift down, and the drill will rotate and sit behind. And his massive legs allow him to carry it like that. And that's drilled it. As you can see, some chest details is exposed. That's because the piece I used had this sticker on it. That was just because I wanted it. You could also turn the drill bit around and use this section as his head. That was how he originally did it, but I recently decided I didn't want that. Articulation, arms can almost do a full 360. The pieces I use do get blocked by the drill, but I think you can move it out of the way and they'll do a full 360. Nope. They can almost do a full 360. Then you've got a very high elbow joint. Do full 360. Legs can go forward that far, backwards that far, and feet can rotate. Yeah, overall, I think he's probably, I think, the best of the figures due to like transformation and stuff. But yeah, that's Drillbit. Next up here we have Long Haul. Simple dump truck. The dumping bed can articulate onto these ramps, and I'm going to bring in Bone Crusher since I don't have him transformed. You can place others on top of him. Okay, it's a very, very simple, heavy-duty dump truck. For his transformation, the whole cockpit is going to fold down. I'll rotate these back. These sections will rotate back. Then you spread the legs a little. These sections will rotate down, and you fold up the smokestacks. Fold these back down. And there we have Long Haul in his robot mode. Now Long Haul is very different. If I bring back in Drillbit, I think he and Drillbit are the tallest. They're all supposed to be, I think actually they're all about the same size. But one thing you'll note is that Long Haul actually has these very strange legs. And I think he's the most articulated. But I'm not very happy with the arms, and especially the smokestacks, which we'll see in combined mode. Start his arms much like the others. You get a full shoulders can go forward and back, full 360. Get your elbow bend. You can turn these around to give him arm blasters out of the smokestacks. Legs can go forward that far, backwards that far till they bump into the dumping bed. They actually can go in and out, and you have ankle tilt, and this can rotate. The original form of Long Haul actually had you use these, like this, as his feet, but his legs would end up being spread way too far apart, so I changed it. Yeah, that's Long Haul. Honestly, like I said, he's the best articulation-wise, but he's my least favorite design-wise. Next up here, we have Bone Crusher, the bulldozer. Very simple bulldozer build. The blade does look funny, but that's because I couldn't get it to sit flat against this. You can get it to sit flat, but I just feel like that doesn't look good, so I tilt them up. Transformation, fold these out and down. Fold down the canopy and flip these sections back. Flip these out and rotate. Move the arms forward and they will just fold back in there to form his back. And just rotate around. Make sure those are in the right position. And you have Bone Crusher. Hope he fell over. And a Bone Crusher. One thing to note is his articulation is limited due to transformation, but you can just kind of move these up. Yeah, arms can go forward, they can go back, but they can only go forward if you have these sections down. They do move out of the way. Arms, full 360 elbow, legs can go forward, backward. Pretty simple articulation, very much like a Scrapper. Yeah, I like the detail of how the blade ends up on his arms to form like armor. Alternatively, you can do this and rotate them down and effectively give him cannons or boxing gloves. I don't really know. Take your pick. But yeah, that's Bone Crusher. Pretty simple. And last but certainly not least, we have Scavenger. Scavenger also has articulation as the excavator bucket can dig. But yeah, overall, I think he's my favorite vehicle mode. I just really like how this looks, especially how this sticker detail is exposed on the bucket arm. Robot mode is interesting though, so let's get into that. Fold down the canopy. You're gonna wanna move the bucket up, straighten out the, oh wait, no. His treads actually fold up. Forgot about that. Rotate these to form the feet. Flip this section up and back. Just kind of fold up the bucket. And there is Scavenger. Now he doesn't like standing. What I find to do is just rotate the feet backwards. There he goes. He's very similar articulation to Bone Crusher, except A, his arms cannot do a full 360. They can do that. And his elbows are much higher. So you can alternatively pose them down here. And that gives him much better. He has two different arm configurations. If you want to use them, legs can go forward. They can't really go back, but since the bucket can move, he can go back farther. He can actually use the bucket. It forms like a very tall cannon thing. But yeah, you'll notice it does kind of just fold up on his back. That's why the canopy, that's why they have to be rotated back. But yeah, he's the last of the figures. Now we'll get on to the accessories. For the accessories, we have three main pieces. We'll start with this one. This is a simple defense vehicle. His back can move up, knees can wiggle. For combined mode, it really only serves a purpose in combined mode, I mean. It kind of really doesn't transform. However, I've already shown the slots for where these peg into. See if you can figure it out. Next, we have the platform. This is the most complicated, as this entire platform parts forms into joints to help lock the legs together. Pins, and armor, and a whole bunch of stuff. Which is why it's displayed like this, so you don't see all this. You don't see these. And the third piece here is a crane. Simple little crane. Has 3 points of articulation, and it just rests on top of the platform like that. So yeah, next, I guess really that's it. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with combined mode. This doesn't do anything for combined mode. It doesn't really change much. We'll just kind of set that off. The crane, the handle folds back. And you'll notice this blue rod. That's important later. That'll be important later. Move that up to the side. Next, the platform. Starters, we're going to take these sections off. Since we're going to do the legs of Devastator first, we're just going to set them over here. And come under here. And these sections, these little bits, they will also come off. For the other leg. Next, these pins will come out. Those are for the torso. And these panels will come out. They're to help armor up the arms. Yeah, you've got your torso pins and your armor, which we'll just kind of put up to the side. You should end up with this. This black panel here is going to flip out. You're going to rotate that yellow piece and close the black panel up. This forms Devastator's shield. This is his shield. And if you have it cut on, this forms a hammer. These form as weapons. We'll set those off to the side. Like I said, we'll do the legs first, which are scrapper and roll out. We'll do roll out first. So fold in the cockpit like so, and move the arms forward. Then take these bits, and the red one, and they'll peg in like so. One of the torso pins, just roll it over. The red section will connect into the canopy piece, and the gray section will connect into the open space underneath the arms after you move them forward. And you're going to do that for both sides. That's going to help hold the leg together. You're going to take these, adjust the foot like so, and that's the foot. That's the leg. That's the right leg. That's Devastator's right leg. For Scrapper, I'm going to start by pushing this piece out one, and folding it back. The legs will fold up, and the arms will fold down against it like so. And these pieces, the light gray portion pegs onto this hole here. Grab my pointer. Pegs right into there. And the dark gray one pegs into this exposed hole for the leg. They just go like that. Both sides. Unfortunately, I think the legs are where Devastator suffers the most, but we'll get into why later. But yeah, there we have the legs done. Next, the torso, which is long haul and drill bit. These two. We'll do drill bit first. So just fold up the legs and fold up the drill bit. Now the drill will become Devastator's head. Then we're going to undo these and put them like this. But you're not going to push those blue pins in, because that's important. We're also not going to add those armor pieces I mentioned. Also note that he is a bit floppy right now. That's because we haven't attached long haul yet. For long haul, you're going to rotate. Well, actually, you're going to rotate the arms down at the shoulder and flip them again at the elbow, and leave the smokestacks facing down. These are where the legs are going to connect to. And one of these, this one, is is not as strong as the other one. It has a much quieter click, so Scrapper will flop. And for these, we're just going to open them up like this. These pins are going to peg onto the third hole here, like so. And the other two are going to peg onto this hole, just below this axle hole. Now he will be kind of flopping around. The torso is really only sturdy once you connect the two together. To start with, we're going to push these two in, and they will slot into these two holes in the L on these orange panels. Like so. And then fold these up and down, and those will form shoulder bits. Then the legs will peg onto the fourth open hole in the arms to help lock everything together. And yeah, there's Devastator's torso. Pretty simple. Now we aren't going to attach these yet. It's easier to do these after you put the arms on. Speaking of which, by default, Scavenger and Bone Crusher become the arms. Bone Crusher, we'll do him first since he forms the right arm. Start with, you're going to open these up and rotate them like so. And take the arms, fold them back around, fold them back and around, and then fold down the bucket sections and flip them up so that they will rest against the body there. And that is Bone Crusher in arm mode. He will be the arm that holds the shield. For Scavenger, the bucket becomes the arm. We're going to end up using these, which then just fold up almost like you're turning them into vehicle mode, or basically like you are, and then just fold around the feet. The Scavenger's conversion is pretty simple, and he will hold the hammer. We'll start with the legs. These two tubes will just plug onto here, like this. And oh gosh, this one doesn't really like going in. Now he's standing up. See if I can't really zoom out anymore. So I'll see if I can move the camera. Oh, you can see my light. Just my light. Next up for the arms, we'll do scavenger first. Rotate. Now you're going to open up this foot specifically, the rear foot. And then this is just going to slide there. Then you press it in, and then just maneuver the other foot into position. And then I think the yellow one, yeah, and the yellow one is going to peg on to this open stud here onto this little pin here. And it's going to help beef up the shoulder a little bit, just so it doesn't look so weird. Bone crusher, you're basically going to do the exact same thing, but it's easier if you fold the foot back before attaching it. Maneuver it on, just like that. And then the black one goes here. It's easy to tell because by the tubes that attach the combined joints to the robots, since these tubes are black, the black one goes here. Also, it doesn't really want to go in. There we go. And then the yellow one goes where the yellow tubes are. His head got squished. But yeah, there's Devastator. He's pretty big. I'll grab Trypticon from the last video for scale. Like, size comparison, he's as tall as Trypticon was. And Trypticon was huge. So, yeah, he's pretty big. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. You'll notice he is leaning forward. And there are these two slots on the back side of Drillbit's arms. That is where this piece goes. It forms a counterweight, so he doesn't just fall over. Just slot in like that. By the way, this is made of 2 pullback engines. Now look, see, he's doing that. He does that. That is the one thing about Devastator I don't like. That the counterweight might be a bit too heavy. You can get him to stand successfully, it's just the counterweight doesn't like it. Anyway, the shield, we're going to rotate his arm forward. Oh gosh. You're going to open this and leave this one here. And then this peg on this piece is going to slot into the piece, the corner hole. He's falling over. Okay, the counterweight's a bit too heavy. So real quick, I'm just going to do some minor surgery just to see if I can fix this problem, because it's causing him to fall over. I think that I didn't realize it because he was in combined mode before I filmed this. Oh my gosh. Okay. Get the hands, arms back in position. There we go. He's not falling over now. The rollout is definitely the worst of the 2 legs, by the way. Just solely because of how his E forms. And then the hammer, just very simple. If I can rotate the piece, we'll just slot it in. There's a little hole here. Just going to peg into that hole there with the crane arm facing inwards. Jeez Louise, Devastator. As you can see, yeah, that's kind of... So combined mode is actually where he definitely doesn't... It doesn't help that the legs don't have strong joints, or the fact that the counterweight will knock him over. But yeah, there's Devastator. Now the articulation is going to be a bit risky. The head can look up that far, down that far, and can do a full 360. Nothing at the torso. It has to be locked together so sturdily that he doesn't have a waist joint or an ab crunch or anything. Arms can't really go out due to these shoulder pads, but you can remove them and they can. They can go forward. Hammer caught on the foot. They kind of go backwards, maybe? If you move Longhaul's feet out of the way, they do. Nope, rollout is banning. Well, he's falling again. Oh my gosh, Devastator, please. I'm going to rotate the shield out of the way. Okay, but he does have gorilla arms. And then Vesperus can move in. For the legs, as you can see, they can go back, forward, they can swivel. And Scrapper is different as he actually has ankle tilt. Let me see if I can get him standing for one last shot. But yeah. Overall, he's not the most articulated, nor is he the most stable. But he makes up for that in size and just detail. Like, he looks awesome. But yeah, that's been my review of my custom mock of Devastator. Like and subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more Technic Transformers in these videos. And with that, I'll see you later. Bricks out.